Hello, my name is Dr. Yaya Sissoko, Professor of Economics, Department of Finance and Economics at Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Today we're going to talk about Chapter 12, Unemployment. This video is about job search. So what is job search? Many theories claim to explain why unemployment exists and persists in the competitive market. Because different firms offer different job opportunities, and because workers are not fully informed about where the best jobs are located, it takes time to find the optimal match. The asking wage makes the worker indifferent between continuing his search activity and accepting the job offer at hand. An increase in the benefit from search raises the asking price, the asking wages, and lengthen the duration of the unemployment spell. An increase in search cost reduces the asking wage and shortens the duration of the unemployment spell. Figure 1 displays the wage offer distribution. The wage offer distribution gives the frequency distribution of potential job offer. A given worker can get a job paying anywhere between $5 to $25 an hour. So we assume that the unemployed worker knows the shape of the wage offer distribution. In other words, he knows that there is a high probability that a search will locate a job paying between $8 and $22 an hour, which is a high probability that you get paid between $8 and $22 an hour. But also, there is a small probability that it may end up getting paid less than $8 or more than $22. So if search were free, the worker would keep knocking from door to door until he finally hit the firm that would pay him $25. Search activity, however, are costly. Each time the worker applies for a new job, he must pay for transportation and other type of expenses, such as a fee to a private employment agency. There is also opportunity, cost. He could have been working at a lower paying job. The worker trade-off is clear. The longer he searches, the more likely he will get a higher pay, and the longer he searches, the more likely it costs to find that job. We can see that it has a higher probability here to get paid between $8 and $22 an hour. Less probability to get paid, less probability to get a pay less than $8 or more than $22. Figure 2 displayed the determination of the asking wage. So in one end, the marginal revenue curve, which is the blue line, gives the gain from an additional search is downward sloping or negatively sloped. You can see that. Because the better the offer at hand, the less there is to gain from an additional search. On the other end, the marginal cost curve, which is this line, the black line, gave the cost of an additional search. It is upward sloping or positively sloped, because the better the job offer at hand, the greater the opportunity cost of an additional search. Therefore, the labor market is here would be in equilibrium for when the asking wage equal the marginal revenue and the marginal cost of search. You can see that the marginal revenue cross the marginal cost at the equilibrium at this point at W theta. So we can see that any wage lower than W theta, the marginal revenue, the marginal revenue for the search will be higher than the marginal cost. It is this much. Okay, so as long as the marginal revenue for the additional search is greater than the marginal cost, then perhaps worker have to keep looking. You can see that. But at any wage, so higher than W theta, for instance, let's say at $20, offer at hand, the marginal revenue is only for an additional search is only that much. The marginal revenue will be only that much, where the marginal cost for the additional for an additional search will cost you this much, so which is way higher than the marginal revenue at $20 pay. So that case, then workers have to, the cost is for an additional search is way higher than the revenue. Figure 3 displayed discount rate, unemployment insurance, and the asking wage. In panel A, so the asking wage, equilibrium would be W theta 0, where marginal revenue 0 cross the marginal cost at this equilibrium point. Suppose that there is an increase in the discount rate, so therefore a present-oriented worker has a higher discount rate and gain from less additional searches, so the marginal revenue curve shifted to MR1, will shift into MR1, shift down to MR1, and the asking wage will fall from W theta 0 to W theta 1, where the new marginal revenue crosses the marginal cost at this point. On the other end, in panel B, so we have so the equilibrium is at W theta 0, where the marginal revenue MR crosses the marginal cost MC0 at this point. So if there is an increase in unemployment benefit, because unemployment benefit increases, this will reduce the marginal cost of the search and shift the marginal cost curve to MC1, so which will increase the asking price. So therefore, because of the unemployment benefit increase, the marginal cost curve will shift down to MC1 and will cross MR marginal revenue curve at this point, where the new asking wage will be W theta 1, which is higher than W theta 0. So is the asking wage constant over time? To answer to this question, we're going to compare the marginal revenue to the marginal cost. The asking wage could be constant if marginal revenue and marginal cost of search were constant. So an unemployed worker would then have the same chance of finding a job in the first week or of the spell or in the 30th week. After all, search is costly due to the liquidity constraint. The probability of escaping unemployment depends on how long the worker has been unemployed. The liquidity constraint forces the worker to recognize that he cannot spend the rest of his life searching for the best job possible. Now, let's talk about the liquidity constraint. So what do you mean by liquidity constraint? The worker has limited means and it will hit constraints. The worker will no longer have the cash to keep its search going because he had to pay for living, so the housing, the food, transportation to look for a job, and then also hiring the service of a employment agency. So those are costly in that sense. The probability of escaping unemployment rises the longer the worker has been unemployed. So the worker will then be willing to accept job offers that were rejected at the beginning of the unemployment spell. This is the end of the video about job search. Next time we'll talk about the unemployment compensation. Thank you.